The basketball season started off tough. Jamal wasn't the best player on the team, and he spent most of the first few games on the bench. But he didn't let that get to him. Instead of complaining, he used the time to watch and learn. Every practice, he worked harder. He showed up early, stayed late, and listened to every piece of advice Coach Harris gave him. "You got heart, Jamal," Coach told him after practice one day. "That's gonna take you far." Jamal took those words to heart. One night, after a late practice, he walked home with Darius. The street lights flickered above them, and the cool night air felt good after all the running they'd done. "You ever think about playing ball in college?" Darius asked. Jamal chuckled. "Man, I'm just trying to make it through this season." "I'm serious," Darius said. "You keep working like this, you could go places." Jamal thought about that. The idea of playing ball in college, maybe even getting a scholarship, was something he had never considered. But now, it didn't seem so impossible. A month into the season, Jamal finally got his moment. It was a close game, and their starting point guard had fouled out. Coach Harris looked down the bench, his eyes landing on Jamal. "Bryant," he called, "get in there." Jamal's heart pounded as he jumped up and ran onto the court. The gym was loud, the scoreboard tight. He could feel every eye on him. Then, the ball was in his hands. He took a deep breath and let instinct take over. He dribbled past his defender, faked a pass, and drove to the basket. The defense collapsed on him, but instead of forcing the shot, he kicked the ball out to a teammate. Swish! The crowd erupted, and Jamal felt a surge of energy. By the end of the game, he had racked up 6 points, 3 assists, and a steal. It wasn't much, but it was enough to prove that he belonged. As he walked off the court, Coach Harris clapped him on the back. "That's what I'm talking about," Coach said. "Keep playing like that, and you'll be starting before you know it." Jamal couldn't stop smiling. As the season went on, Jamal kept improving. His confidence grew, and so did his dreams. But more than anything, he started to understand that basketball was bigger than just a game. It was discipline, hard work, and second chances. One day, after practice, he stopped by the community center. The kids he used to coach ran up to him, excited. "Jamal, you playing for the school now?" One of them asked. "Yeah," Jamal said with a smile. "Y'all still working on your game?" The kids nodded. Jamal dropped his gym bag and picked up a ball. "Then let's see what you got." As he watched them dribble and shoot, he realized something. He wasn't just playing for himself anymore. He was playing for every kid who needed to see that mistakes don't define you. How you bounce back does. And Jamal? He was just getting started. As the season progressed, Jamal's role on the team grew. He was still coming off the bench most games. But now, when Coach Harris called his name, he was ready. Every minute on the court mattered, and he played like it. One night, after a big win, Jamal and Darius sat outside the gym, cooling off before heading home. "You ever think about what's next?" Darius asked, staring up at the night sky. Jamal dribbled the ball between his legs. "Next game?" "Nah, man," Darius said. "After high school." Jamal thought about it. For so long, his future had been a blur. But now, with basketball, with everything he'd learned at the community center, he was starting to see something clearer. "I wanna keep playing," Jamal admitted. "Maybe even in college." Darius nodded. "You should. And I bet you could get a scholarship if you keep working." Jamal had never really considered that before, but now, it didn't seem so crazy. "You?" Jamal asked. Darius smirked. "Man, I'm gonna run this city one day. Maybe start my own business. Who knows?" Jamal laughed. "As long as you hire me when you do." "Deal," Darius said, bumping fists with him. A few weeks later, after another solid performance in a game, Jamal was walking out of the gym when Coach Harris stopped him. "Jamal, you got a minute?" "Yeah, Coach." Coach Harris handed him a flyer. It was for a summer basketball camp, one of the best in the state. "They're looking for players to invite," Coach said. "I put your name in." Jamal's eyes widened. "Wait, for real?" Coach nodded. You've earned it. You've come a long way, Jamal. But I need to know, are you serious about this? Because if you are, this could open doors for you. Jamal stared at the flyer. A year ago, he was stealing shoes and lying to his mom. Now, he was being invited to play at a high-level camp. I'm serious, Coach, Jamal said firmly. I wanna do this. Coach Harris smiled. Good. Then let's make it happen. The summer camp wasn't going to be easy. The best players from all over the state would be there, all competing for attention from scouts and college recruiters. Jamal knew this was his chance, not just to prove he belonged, but to take his future into his own hands. Every morning, he woke up early to train. He ran sprints at the park, worked on his shooting, and lifted weights at the community center. Darius even joined him sometimes, pushing him to go harder. You better make it big, Darius joked. I wanna be able to say I knew you before you blew up. Jamal smirked. Man, I'm just trying to make it to the next step. And that's exactly what he was going to do. The first step toward something greater. When the day of the camp finally arrived, Jamal stepped onto the court, surrounded by some of the best players he'd ever seen. For a moment, doubt crept in. Do I really belong here? Then he thought about everything it took to get here. The mistakes, the lessons, the work. He wasn't the same kid who took Darius' shoes. He wasn't the same kid who lied to his mom. He was Jamal Bryant, a player, a leader, and someone who fought for what he wanted. Taking a deep breath, he tightened his laces and walked onto the court. It was time to show everyone what he could do. The first day of camp was intense. The drills were faster, the players stronger, and the competition fiercer than anything Jamal had ever faced. During the first scrimmage, he struggled. His passes were a little off, his shots weren't falling, and he hesitated when he should have attacked. By the end of the day, he was frustrated. As he sat on the bench, wiping sweat from his face, he felt a tap on his shoulder. You're thinking too much, said a tall player with a confident smirk. Jamal looked up. The guy was one of the best players at camp. Trevin Carter, a highly ranked recruit with offers from big colleges. What? Jamal asked. You're playing like you're trying not to mess up, Trayvon said. Stop worrying about what everyone else thinks. Play your game. Jamal nodded, taking in the advice. He knew Trayvon was right. He was here for a reason. He had to trust himself, finding his rhythm. The next day, Jamal came in with a different mindset. He focused on what he did best. Playing smart, hustling, and setting up his teammates. During a full court scrimmage, he got a steal and pushed the fast break. Instead of hesitating, he drove straight to the hoop, drawing the defender before kicking it out to an open shooter. Swish. His teammates started to notice. Yo, this dude can hoop, one of them said. With each game, Jamal's confidence grew. He wasn't the flashiest player, but he made the right plays, played tough defense, and never backed down. By the end of the week, even the coaches were taking notice. An unexpected conversation. After the final scrimmage, Jamal was packing up when one of the assistant coaches approached him. You got a minute, Jamal? Yes, sir, he said, his heart pounding. The coach smiled. You've got potential, kid. You play smart, you hustle, and you make your teammates better. Have you thought about playing at the next level? Jamal swallowed hard. I mean, yeah, I want to. I just didn't know if I had a real shot. The coach chuckled. You do. Keep working, keep improving, and I guarantee you'll have some options. Jamal could barely believe what he was hearing. Thank you, coach, he said, shaking his hand. As he walked out of the gym, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Certainty. He was good enough. The journey continues. That night, Jamal called his mom and told her everything. She listened, then smiled through the phone. I always knew you had it in you, she said. When he got back home, Darius was waiting for him. So, Darius asked, how'd it go? Jamal tossed his duffel bag on the porch and grinned. I think I just got my first real shot at playing in college. Darius broke into a wide grin. Man, I told you, this is just the beginning. Jamal knew he was right. This wasn't the end of his story. it was just the start of something bigger, and this time, he wasn't looking for shortcuts. He was ready to earn it all. After returning from camp, Jamal felt different. He had walked in unsure of himself but left knowing that college basketball wasn't just a dream, it was a real possibility. Now, it was up to him to make it happen. The first step? His senior season. Coach Harris had noticed his improvement, and when the team gathered for the first practice, he made an announcement. This year, we need leadership. Someone who's willing to put in the work, push their teammates, and set the tone, Coach said, scanning the players. Then his eyes landed on Jamal. That's why Jamal is one of our captains this season. Jamal's stomach flipped. Him? A captain? Darius was the first to react. Aye, my boy. He called, clapping him on the back. Jamal looked at Coach, then at his teammates. I won't let y'all down, he promised, proving himself again. Being a captain wasn't just about playing well, it meant showing up early, staying late, and holding his teammates accountable. There were days when guys slacked off in practice, but Jamal was on them. Come on, man, we gotta work. He'd say, pushing them to keep going. At first, some guys weren't feeling it. Man, chill, Jamal, one player groaned after a long drill. But then, during a tough game against their rival school, with the score tied and a minute left, Jamal stole the ball, pushed the fast break, and set up Darius for a game-winning three. After the buzzer sounded, that same teammate dapped him up. All right, Cap, I see you, he said with a grin. Jamal just smiled. Colleges start calling. As the season went on, something crazy started happening. College scouts started showing up. At first, it was just a couple sitting in the stands, watching quietly. Then, after a strong game where Jamal racked up 12 points and 8 assists, Coach Harris pulled him aside. Jamal, you got schools asking about you, Coach said. Nothing official yet, but keep playing like this, and you'll have some offers soon. Jamal couldn't believe it. That night, he sat in his room, staring at the ceiling, thinking about how far he'd come. He used to be the kid who made excuses, the kid who tried to take shortcuts, the kid who almost lost his best friend over a stupid mistake. Now, he was a leader, a player with a future, and he wasn't stopping anytime soon. One more shot. As the season came down to the final stretch, Jamal had one goal: win the championship. Their school hadn't won a title in years, but this year felt different. They had the talent, the chemistry, and the hunger to make it happen. The night before the playoffs, Jamal and Darius sat on the outdoor court where it all started. You ready for this? Darius asked. Jamal nodded. I've never been more ready. Darius smirked. Then let's go get that trophy. And as Jamal looked out at the empty court, he saw not just the game ahead, but the future waiting for him. He had come too far to stop now. This was just the beginning. The playoff run. The gym was packed. The crowd was loud. The energy was electric. Jamal stood at half court, bouncing on the balls of his feet as the referee got ready for the tip-off. This was the first round of the playoffs, and every game from here on out could be their last. He glanced at Darius, who nodded. Let's eat, bro, Darius said, smacking his hands together. The whistle blew, the ball went up, and just like that, it was game time. Making a statement, Jamal came out aggressive. He hit his first shot, a smooth pull-up jumper, and followed it up with a steal and a fast break assist. But their opponents weren't backing down. By halftime, the game was tied. In the locker room, Coach Harris kept it simple. We've worked too hard to fold now, he said. Play smart, play tough, play together. Jamal took a deep breath. This was his moment. The second half was a battle. Every possession mattered. With a minute left, they were up by 2, but the other team had the ball. Jamal locked in on his man. As soon as the point guard made his move, Jamal read it perfectly, poked the ball loose, and took off down the court. The defender was right on his heels. He could go for the layup, but at the last second, he saw Darius trailing behind. Jamal dropped a perfect no-look pass, and Darius slammed it home. Game over. The crowd exploded, and Jamal felt the rush of victory wash over him. 1 down, 3 to go. The road to the championship. The next 2 games were just as tough, but Jamal and his team found ways to win. He wasn't the leading scorer, but he controlled the pace, played tough defense, and made sure everyone got involved. By the end of the semifinals, the impossible had happened. His school was in the championship game for the first time in years. Jamal could hardly believe it, but there was still one more step to take. The biggest game of his life. The championship game was everything he expected. Fast, physical, and intense. The other team had a star player, a guy already committed to a Division I school. The game went back and forth, neither team giving an inch. With 30 seconds left, the score was tied. Coach Harris called a timeout. "We're going for the win," he said. "Jamal, I want the ball in your hands." Jamal swallowed hard, but he nodded. This was it. As the clock ticked down, he dribbled at the top of the key, waiting for his moment. His defender pressed up on him, but Jamal stayed calm. Then, with 5 seconds left, he made his move. A quick crossover, a hard drive, a step-back jumper. The ball floated through the air. The buzzer sounded. Swish. The gym erupted. His teammates tackled him. The crowd roared, and Jamal could hardly breathe. They had done it. They were champions. A future secured. The celebrations lasted all night. Jamal barely had time to process it all before Coach Harris pulled him aside. "You played like a winner tonight," Coach said. "And now, I got something for you." He handed Jamal an envelope. Inside was a letter, an official scholarship offer from a Division II college. Jamal's hands shook as he read it. "I got an offer," he asked in disbelief. Coach Harris grinned. "You earned it." Jamal couldn't stop smiling. A year ago, he was stealing shoes and lying to his mom. Now, he had a championship, a scholarship, and a future he never thought possible. As he looked around at his teammates, his coach, and Darius, who was hyping him up in the background, he knew one thing for sure. This was just the beginning. The weeks after the championship felt like a dream. Everywhere Jamal went, people recognized him. Teachers congratulated him. Younger kids at the community center looked up to him, and even strangers stopped him to talk about that shot. But the best moment? When he sat across from his mom at the kitchen table, his scholarship letter in front of him. "You really did it," she said, her voice full of pride. Jamal nodded. "Yeah, Ma, I did." She wiped a tear from her eye and shook her head with a smile. "I always knew you had it in you, baby. I just needed you to see it for yourself." For the first time in a long time, Jamal felt at peace, but he also knew this wasn't the end, just the next step. Preparing for college ball. Summer workouts were no joke. The college sent him a training program, and Jamal followed it religiously. Early morning runs, weightlifting, shooting drills. He was determined to show up on campus in the best shape of his life. Darius trained with him sometimes, even though his dreams were different. "Man, I gotta make sure you don't forget where you came from when you blow up," Darius joked one day after a long session at the park. Jamal laughed. "Never that. You know you're coming with me." But as excited as he was, there was still one thing on his mind. The last time he was about to start something new, he had made a bad decision. Stealing from Darius, he had taken shortcuts. This time, he wanted to start fresh, with nothing weighing him down. So one night, he sat down with his mom. "Ma, I need to tell you something," he said. She raised an eyebrow. "What is it?" He took a deep breath. "Remember that time you asked me about Darius' shoes? The ones I said I found." Her expression changed instantly. "Jamal," she said slowly. "It was me," he admitted. "I took them from him. I was stupid, and I lied to you. I wanted to tell you before I left. I don't want to carry that with me." His mother stared at him for a long moment. Then she sighed and shook her head. "You already made it right with Darius, didn't you?" She asked. "Yeah, and you've learned from it." "More than you know," Jamal said sincerely. She nodded. "Then I don't have to tell you how disappointed I was back then, but I will tell you how proud I am of the man you're becoming." Jamal let out a breath he didn't even realize he was holding. "Thanks, Ma," he said softly. The journey continues. Before he knew it, summer was over. It was time to leave for college. On his last night home, he and Darius sat on the hood of his mom's car, looking up at the sky. "You ready?" Darius asked. Jamal smiled. "Yeah, you." Darius laughed. "Man, I'm not the one leaving. Jamal smirked. I mean, ready to take over this city. Darius thought about it, then nodded. Oh, for sure. Just don't forget to call me when you're on ESPN. Jamal chuckled. Bet. As he packed up his things the next morning, he took one last look around his room. The old basketball posters, the worn-out sneakers by the door, the memories of everything that had led him to this moment. Then he grabbed his bags, took a deep breath, and stepped out the door. His story was far from over. It was just beginning. Jamal stepped onto the campus of Westview University, his duffel bag slung over his shoulder and his heart pounding in his chest. This was it. College basketball. A new city, new teammates, and a whole new level of competition. As soon as he checked into his dorm, he headed straight to the gym. He wasn't here to waste time. The first thing he noticed? These dudes were good. During open runs, everyone was faster, stronger, and more skilled than anyone he had played against in high school. Even the guys who weren't starters had deep bags. And then there was him, the star player of the team, Jordan Reese, a senior point guard with ridiculous handles and a killer jumper. Jamal had heard about him before, but seeing him in action was different. Every move was smooth, every pass was precise, and he never looked rattled. Yo, freshman, Jordan called out, locking eyes with Jamal after a scrimmage. You got a game. Jamal felt the weight of every player's eyes on him. He nodded. Yeah, I got one. Jordan smirked. Show me. The first test. The scrimmage started, and Jamal quickly realized something. This wasn't high school anymore. His usual moves weren't working as well. The defenders were bigger and quicker, closing gaps before he could react. When he tried to drive, he got bumped off his path. His first 3 shots? Bricks. Jordan picked up on it fast. Welcome to college, rookie, he said after ripping the ball from Jamal and taking it the other way. Jamal gritted his teeth. He wasn't about to fold. He adjusted. Instead of forcing shots, he focused on defense, using his quickness to disrupt plays. He found open teammates, set good screens, and ran the floor hard. By the end of the scrimmage, he had earned some respect. Not bad, Jordan said, nodding. But you still got work to do. Jamal wiped sweat from his forehead and nodded back. Bet. He knew this was just the beginning. Late nights, early mornings. From that day on, Jamal made a promise to himself. Outwork everybody. While other guys slept in, he was in the gym at sunrise, working on his shot. After practice, while teammates hit the dining hall, he stayed behind for extra reps. The assistant coach, Coach Daniels, took notice. You remind me of me, he said one evening, watching Jamal run through drills alone. Hungry. Jamal nodded. I have to be. Coach Daniels tossed him the ball. Keep that mindset, and you'll be playing real minutes before you know it. Jamal held on to those words, earning his spot. The first few games of the season, Jamal barely played. He sat at the end of the bench, watching, learning. Then, one night, everything changed. Westview was down by 8 with 4 minutes left. The starting point guard had 4 fouls, and coach looked down the bench. Bryant, he called. Get in there. Jamal's heart pounded. He stepped onto the court, locked in. First play, he picked up his man full court, forcing a turnover. Second play, he pushed the fast break and found an open teammate for a corner 3. Third play, he pulled up for a jumper at the free throw line. Swish. By the time the buzzer sounded, Westview had come back to win. In the locker room, Coach Harris clapped him on the shoulder. That's how you stay ready, he said. Jamal smiled. He wasn't just here to be on the team. He was here to make an impact. The call that changed everything. Later that night, as Jamal lay in his dorm, his phone buzzed. It was Darius. Yo, you saw that, right? Jamal laughed, already knowing Darius had been watching the game. Saw it? Bro, you arrived tonight, Darius said. I told you. Just the beginning. Jamal grinned. His journey was far from over, but for the first time, he knew he was exactly where he was meant to be. Jamal kept grinding. After that first big moment, his minutes increased. He wasn't a starter yet, but he was the first guy off the bench, playing real minutes against real competition. Every time he stepped on the court, he played like he had something to prove. By midseason, the coaching staff couldn't ignore it anymore. Jamal, Coach Harris said after practice one day, we're moving you into the starting lineup. Jamal felt his chest tighten. For real. Coach nodded. You earned it. That night, Jamal called his mom. Ma, he said. barely able to keep his excitement in. I'm starting next game. She let out a small laugh. I'm so proud of you, baby, but you already know this is just another step, right? Jamal smiled. Yeah, I know. The first start. Game day came, and Jamal's nerves were on fire. The gym was packed, the lights felt brighter, and the crowd was louder than ever. Standing in the huddle, Jordan Reese clapped Jamal on the shoulder. Relax, rookie, he said with a smirk. Just hoop. Jamal took a deep breath. The game started, and Jamal locked in. His first possession, he ran the offense clean, hitting Jordan with a perfect pass for a 3. His second time down, he found an opening and attacked, drawing a foul and hitting both free throws. On defense, he was relentless, getting a steal and turning it into a fast break layup. By the time the first half ended, he had 10 points, 4 assists, and 2 steals. The crowd was loving it, a new challenge. But college basketball wasn't just about one game, it was a grind. After a few